First, shout out to my boss, Glenn Beck. Thanks for stealing my thunder. You know, I had this scheduled for months. He found out I was coming, just had to weasel his way in. Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for having me here. Not only is it great to participate in such an important gathering of free market conservatives, but I'll take any excuse to leave New York City. It is all wiener all the time. It's too much wiener. It's just too much wiener. And if you know me, I like meat. I'm a big meat eater. It's too much wiener. I'm going to make this brief, but I hope it leaves you all thinking not only about what the future looks like for new media, but more importantly, I hope it leaves you excited for it and eager to participate in it. Let me take you back a couple of decades. In the early 90s, we all started to slowly realize that the media had lost its way. All the newspapers and networks and news outlets were starting to sound the same. And they were starting to sound dangerously subjective. The media was picking winners and losers. And by the time the Clinton-Lewinsky affair played out, it was clear there was only one media voice, and it was liberal. The people that you trusted to give you honest and accurate news and responsible opinion, the supposed watchdogs of the state, decided they didn't want to watch the state anymore. Watching the state was getting uncomfortable. Not just because Bill Clinton was bringing the blowjob back into popular vernacular, but because defending the state was getting a little tricky. So instead of watching the state, they started watching you. The liberal and secular media started using its significant platform and cozy relationship with Democrats to push a liberal and secular agenda and tell you that conservative America and conservative values were backwards, dangerous, fanatical, unsophisticated, and stupid. The problem with the country wasn't that the president was too promiscuous. It was that conservative America was too judgmental. Well, naturally, this angered many of us. This angered conservative America. But for a while, conservative America was pretty complacent about it. It didn't demand better, and it didn't come up with too many solutions. But eventually, the media became so unabashed, so blatant, so unapologetic, that it forced conservatives to go through the machinations that always occur when there's a gap in the marketplace, whether it's a consumer marketplace or a marketplace of ideas. First, they got frustrated that they didn't have a voice that represented them. Then, after spending some time being frustrated, they got organized. They started to share ideas, vent their concerns, offer up solutions, become emboldened and empowered. And finally, they took action. They decided to fill the gap themselves. Notice, they didn't try to silence or stifle the existing media. No fairness doctrine or heavy-handed regulation, no duct tape, no muzzles. They created an alternative to fill this gap in the market. So the health and strength of Fox News, of conservative talk, conservative radio personalities like Glenn and Rush Limbaugh, online outlets like Hot Air, The Blaze, The Daily Caller, magazines like Town Hall and Human Events, all a testament to the health and strength of the free market. No subsidies needed, no forced fairness, no imposed regulations, just a robust and organic evolution of a free market idea whose time had come. Conservative media was a free market response to liberal media, not an attempt to restrict it. The free market is about more choices, not fewer choices. And so now that we have this healthy conservative media, what do we do with it? Well, we have a responsibility as journalists and pundits and bloggers and columnists and commentators, radio hosts, authors, to protect it and grow it and stay competitive. And I think that by anyone's account, we are. Some ideas will fail, undoubtedly. Not every idea will work, and we're in a new information infancy still. We're all just trying to keep up with the evolution of technology and find ways to harness it and make the most of it, Anthony Weiner. But many ideas will succeed, whether they are new ways to distribute news, new ways to consume news, new ways to experience media, or new media communities. And even though I'm somewhat traditional, I still write for a newspaper, I still write books, I believe that the future of news distribution and consumption is online. It won't make the television obsolete, but the internet is going to totally change the way we watch it. It's already changed the way we consume news. I came to work for Glenn half a year ago because I want to be part of that revolution, and not to sound like a commercial or a corporate shrill. The launch of gbtv.com last week is going to change the way we consume news. I fully believe that. New media is democratizing news consumption and distribution. And pretty soon, the big networks aren't going to be able to compete. News is totally customized today. You go on Facebook, you go on Twitter, and they act like individual news aggregators. You get to choose who gives you the news that you want, what kind of news you want to experience. The big networks can't do this. They can't customize the experience. They can't compete for your individual attention the way that new media can. And that's the future. You are the news producer. You are the news editor. You are the content provider. Finally, you are in control. That's power and democracy like we've never experienced in the media before. It's really exciting. So, as frustrating and aggravating as the media can be, the bias, the irresponsibility, the reckless inattention to truth, better alternatives always find a way to push themselves through the Willy Wonka candy factory of free markets and fill the gaps. It takes some time, sometimes it's an ugly process, there are often casualties, not everyone survives unless you like subsidies and bailouts. But I promise you, only a free market is capable of delivering the media products and platforms that we deserve and demand the best. So with that, thank you for having me. I'm gonna go crash Glenn's next event.